Hello and welcome everyone to Bay Street Q&A. This is a special video series from CHF Capital Markets, and here we invite CEOs of growing and emerging public companies to discuss their company updates, and we do a deep dive into their latest public announcements. And with us today is Troy Buscaglia, President and CEO of Murchison Minerals, and the company is currently trading on the Venture Exchange under the symbol MUR. So Troy, welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Thomas. Thanks for having me and great to be here. Awesome.
So first of all, congratulations on your new appointment as the President and CEO of Murchison Minerals. And we know that you have already announced it in a press release, but I'm pretty sure that our investors would like to hear who you are from your own words. So please enlighten us.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you. I appreciate it. And so I come to Murchison into the President and CEO role with a depth of exploration, project development, and operating experience across primarily the Saskatchewan uranium sector. So most recently, I held positions with NextGen Energy of Vice President of Exploration and Community, Vice President of Operations and Project Development. So, you know, while I was at NextGen, the scope of my role entailed leading the project development team and responsible for the development of the Rook I project and the Arrow uranium deposit. So this included many significant milestones, including the resource development of the Arrow resource itself through multiple delineation programs, infill and exploration that ultimately resulted in a number of mineral resource estimate updates. On the technical side, so on the engineering side and the study side, commencing the preliminary economic assessment, leading that through the pre-feasibility and into the feasibility study work. In parallel, we also progressed the environmental assessment work, and that work completed to date. And importantly, that was in 2 jurisdictions. So that was both in the province of Saskatchewan, provincial environmental assessment, as well as a parallel federal assessment led through the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission. And while that was going on, it was also at the same time we were also exploring, and we were successful in having multiple discoveries along the Patterson Lake corridor. You know, but as with our times, you know, and important to resource development, natural resource projects in Canada, I also had the opportunity to work on the Indigenous relations and community relations side of our business as well, and built and maintained mutually beneficial relationships with communities and Indigenous communities proximal to the project, which ultimately culminated in the signing of 2 rights-bearing or IBA agreements with local Indigenous communities. Mm-hmm. So that's a bit on the last kind of 5 years with NextGen Energy. Prior to that, I came up through Cameco Corporation, both as an explorationist, but also as an operator. I was the chief geologist at one of Cameco's 3 operating mines at that time in Canada at the Eagle Point underground uranium mine.
Awesome. Well, you know, like that sounds like you are a perfect match for the company, and you already, you know, up to the task at Murchison. So Troy, for the new investors out there, can you give us a summary about Murchison, the company, and what projects do you have, and what's special about them?
Yeah, for sure, Thomas. Let's start with who we are. Okay, so Murchison is an exploration and development company focused on discovering metals the world needs to transition to a low carbon energy future. And that's a pretty high level statement. And so let's unpack that a bit and start with who we are as people. So Murchison has a depth and a breadth of experience at a board level, going from, you know, our executive chairman, JC Potman, who is the co-founder of the company and has been with the company since 2007 in either a board or an executive role. Prior to that, JC was the president of Pangea Goldfields, which was acquired by Barrick in the year 2000 for over 200 million. You add on to that, Don Johnson. Mr. Johnson is also Murchison's largest shareholder. He holds around 30% of the company. He serves as a member of the BMO Capital Markets Advisory Board. Don has held senior roles on Bay Street for over 40 years. And you continue down on the capital market side and you look at the experience of David Piper and you look at the experience of Dennis Arsenal. And on that side of it, Murchison has a depth and a breadth of experience at a board level. And then on the technical side at a board level, we have Jacqueline LaRue, who is a metallurgical engineer. So she's a metallurgist, but she's also the vice president of environment and permitting for Trollis Gold. And then as an advisor to the board, special advisor to the board, we have Corey Bielek. Corey is a very seasoned geologist and the current CEO of Canalaska Uranium, with projects mostly focused in Saskatchewan and the Athabasca Basin. On the management side, we have Eric Martin. Eric is our chief financial officer. Eric has a depth and a breadth of experience with publicly traded companies. And then we have John Schmier. John Schmier is our VP of exploration. He is a very intelligent, very engaged exploration geologist who is singularly and solely focused on making a discovery through practical on-the-ground application of very sound geoscience. Now, on the project side, so that's the people, and now we transition. Let's talk about the projects a bit. In Quebec, well, first of all, that team, the board, and then the management team, we're operating projects in both Saskatchewan and Quebec, and those are the two most favorable exploration and mining jurisdictions in Canada. In Quebec, we're focused on the nickel-copper-cobalt HPM project. That's a 138 square kilometer project located in the Manicouagan metamorphic complex between Baie-Comeau and Fremont. And that's about 20 kilometers from an all-season access road that connects those two communities. The property lies within the Grenville province and is host to numerous nickel-copper-cobalt showings that are associated with mafic and ultramafic intrusions and that have intruded into the Paradise sequence. So on the HPM project, there's a historic nickel sulfide occurrence that's called Iron Bar or Bar de Fur. The Bar de Fur occurrence returned drilling results with grades up to 1.74% nickel, 0.9% copper, and 0.09% cobalt over a drill length of 43.18 meters or 43.2 meters. Yeah, that's HPM. In Saskatchewan, we're focused on the Brabant Lake project, which hosts the Brabant Mackenzie volcanogenic massive sulfide deposit or VMS deposit. The deposit contains zinc, copper, silver, and has a current mineral resource base of 2.1 million tons at 10.97% zinc equivalent, and that's in the indicated resource category. In the inferred resource category, there's 7.6 million tons at a grade of 6.92% zinc equivalent. The deposit itself, Brabant Mackenzie, it remains open, and it remains open at depth and on striking areas. And in addition to that, there are multiple prospective BMS targets on trend of the deposit. So the Brabant Lake project, is directly adjacent to the settlement of Brabant Lake, which is a community in northern Saskatchewan. It's located 175 kilometers northeast of the town of La Ronge, and is just off of the side of Highway 102 with direct access to the Saskatchewan power grid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. I mean, like, it's very great to hear your insights. And what I can say is for all of the successful mining stories out there, we all know that behind a successful mining story, well, there must be a successful team. And it seems like you have a great, assembly line of, like all of the ingredients, I would say like human ingredients for success.
Yeah.
And well, it sounds like there are like a lot of blue sky potentials in two of the projects that Murchison have. So going a little bit to the HPM nickel-copper-cobalt project, it sounds very appealing to me. And indeed, like many analysts, they have pointed out that for the green energy, or so-called green energy revolution, to become a reality, we'll need a lot of nickel, copper, and cobalt. So how did Murchison, we would like to get into like the history a little bit here. How did Murchison get on to the project in the first place? And what has been done on the project since you took it on? And what are you expecting in the future for the project?
That's a great question, Thomas, and one that I've actually asked myself recently. Because when you look at HPM, the question that I come to automatically is, well, how did Murchison end up with 138 square kilometer exploration project that's focused on nickel, copper, cobalt? And to unravel that, you have to go back until 2007 to the predecessor company of what became Murchison Minerals. And in 2007, Manicouagan Minerals Inc. entered into an agreement to earn up to 50% interest in the project. Then subsequently in 2019, under the Murchison flag, we acquired the additional 50%, which then granted Murchison 100% interest in HPM. And since that history, since we acquired that 100% interest in the project, we've covered the project with modern VTEM, so airborne EM, helicopter supported airborne EM surveys. And results from that yielded a number, I think around 55 discrete conductive trends. Wow. Yeah, so from there, then Murchison added an additional 46 square kilometers in claims to the project, which gets us to that 138 square kilometers. And then following up on that, so Flu VTEM identified a number of conductive trends, about 55 discrete conductive trends that were interesting. Then the spring of 2021, the guys hit the ground prospecting. So the technical crew hit the ground at HPM with a beat map, and really that's just on the ground instrumentation to confirm conductivity and confirm what we were seeing with the VTEM survey, and a backpack drill with the intention of sampling the outcrop and sampling the Gaussian outcrop that they were seeing. And that process, both confirmed conductivity, but the sampling also confirmed nickel-bearing sulfide mineralization on a number of occurrences that were defined by the Airborne Geophysical Survey, by the VTEM survey. From that point then, and this is in the period of time, so where I came into the picture, and Murchison raised $4 million this fall. Awesome. And then, through a private placement, and then recently we announced that we recently commenced drilling, and additional prospecting on the HPM project. So the drilling itself is focused on the PYC target. And it consists of one drill program, helicopter supported drill program. The focus of the program is on testing the subsurface mineralization at the PYC target. The surface mineralization at PYC has been observed over a strike length of 1.7 to 1.95 kilometers. And the work from this summer, the backpack drilling and the prospecting that tested the subsurface mineralization at PYC returned grades as high as 1.28% nickel equivalent or breaking that down, about 0.79% nickel, about 0.14% copper, and 0.15% cobalt. So, you build that up, and we've got an inaugural maiden drill program on a very underexplored jurisdiction in Quebec that we feel has the ingredients to become a district scale nickel exploration jurisdiction.
Wow, it's very impressive, and it sounds a lot like a lifetime opportunity for a big discovery here. Well, at least to me. So maybe the last question for you is if you can give our investors 3 reasons why they should have Murchison Minerals in their stock portfolio.
Yeah, Thomas, I think we touched on it, right? And I think we touched on it during the course of the interview here. And you start off with the people. Murchison has a highly experienced team. We're advancing highly prospective projects in Canada's best exploration and mining jurisdictions. And those projects, they're focused on commodities that are in very high demand to power the global transition to a low carbon energy economy. Murchison, we talked about this just in the previous comment there. Murchison has a dominant land position in the Manicouagan metamorphic complex with the HPM project. That project has significant nickel, copper, cobalt potential, and I think that it's that potential that the market is just starting to realize and just starting to become aware of. And I think when you roll all those factors together, we're really excited about where Murchison is, and we're really excited about where we're going.
Awesome. There cannot be a better way to close our interview in such a compelling note like that. So again, Murchison Minerals currently trading on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol MUR. And you can also learn more about the company in the description of this video below. So again, Troy, thank you so much for your insights today, and especially the time. I know you're busy, and we'll definitely see you next time.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Thomas.